So xenophobia in my country is not happening. And you don't, what I'm going to explain to you, we've got a situation in South Africa where we have had infiltration. Apartheid is still alive. It's still alive. We've not got a freedom in my country. They are bringing in people from other countries to come and destabilize our country. They are afraid of what black people can do. They know we're capable, and they're afraid of what we can do. These are elements who are illegal, undocumented people. No, hold on. There are legal ones who are there, who are working in our universities, who are working in our professions. Okay. You know what I'm afraid of is that, you know, when they want to destroy a country, they start this media thing, and people are picking it up. I'm hearing it from top professionals. Yeah, there's xenophobia in South Africa. There are elements, I'm not saying that it's not there, okay, of people who will behave in that manner, because obviously you've got crime everywhere, okay? But it's when we just throw it out, blanket, which I worry about. We've got a critical situation in South Africa where whites are still controlling everything. ANC government is corrupt to the hilt. It is stealing tax people's money. People have got no money, no jobs, no food, no water. I said it earlier, this is fact. I'm not making it up. If you really watch some of the programs that are telling the genuine, we didn't have electricity, we don't shed it for months upon month upon month. Why? Because of corruption of the government. Zuma is implicated with the Zondo Commission. You know, these are things that are happening. What's happening with ANC? ANC was corrupt before it even got into the country again. It's been manipulated with the West. Why I'm telling you this story is because from a black consciousness perspective, we came out here as students. You want to know about students and how... Okay, so now I was going to go to the other question. So as students, you know, what we did, we coordinated in our communities. You know, you just don't, you know, stay with the campus. That's why we had what we call the Black Community Programs. Then the youth would go into the communities, raise awareness, support the community building, gardening, whatever. If they don't have, you know, no food, any little thing you can help. Then elderly people don't have families, sometimes they need to go to the hospital. So you have to set up this kind of program. I mean, we are doing them under extreme conditions because the crime levels within the black areas are up there. And I know people are very sensitive about this issue of foreign nationals, xenophobia, but there are criminal elements as well. There are those who are good, but there are these criminal elements. Our gender-based violence is way up there, right? Human trafficking is way up there. Children are disappearing every single day in our community. Human trafficking, cheap labor, and sexual prostitution and stuff like that of children. This is happening on the daily. This is not something that's made up. It's recorded. There's statistics on it. You know, so let's try not to spread the wrong message. I don't mind bringing down this government at all if you want to, you know, put it down to that. But it's just that we've got to be careful how we present information. Because you can destroy a whole nation just by the wrong message. That's how they do it. They're using us to misinterpret what's going on at home. And ANC is doing it. ANC is actually putting it out there in the media that our people are interpreting this wrongly, when in fact they created the nightmare because we don't have border control.
Thank you. I'll just go briefly. The first question regarding the South African issue, I think it's a classic case where when things go wrong, we always have to blame the poor on the weak. This happens here. When the economy is going bad, reform blames the ignorant. And I think in South Africa we also have to be careful about the media coverage, because from my experience, sometimes the media will blow up the situation. I'm not saying it's not there, but it's probably there. But on a wider context, and I think it's a microcosm of what's happening in Africa, because in Africa, the common history, if you look at the infrastructure that was left behind, no two countries have been linked. There's no railway that links two countries. Always the railway forms a certain form from the center of from the country out to the coast, because it's all designed to exploit the country. And I think that has come through, and as Africans, as you mentioned, we should be able to live and work in the whole of Africa. And I think that's an issue that it's not just a South African issue, but it's how we perceive each other, how we perceive as Africans. This is one of the things I like about this thing, because there are different points of view that we share. Coming back to the second question regarding Pan-Africanism, so again, it's more or less the same thing here, because we as Africans, we have to interact with each other, not through the Western media, but individually and personally like this, and share our experiences. My African neighbor has to become a person. It's not just a number, but I have to interact, have to hear their views. And regarding the generation gap, I think every generation has its own battle to fight. No generation has got the answers to all the questions. Your generation will probably face the same challenges in a different way that my generation faced and the previous generation faced. It's about learning from each other, and it's also respecting each other. The young generation have to respect the experience of that, but then the older generation will also have, I think there used to be a saying, teaching the grandmother to suck eggs. But then Tony Benn said, I think Tony Benn, the former Labour MP, said that's rubbish, because if he didn't ask his grandson how to repair his laptop, he'd be lost. So we all have to learn from each other.
Thank you, thank you.
Since I've been aware of Zambia, South Africa, and that's even before I became politically aware, the situation of our African sisters and brothers has never been good. I remember, was it Ruth and Lizzie, when they were using tires and burning each other. So we can have a viewpoint, but one fact is that the whites continue to own 87% of the land, and Africans are fighting, I don't want to be derogatory like dogs, over the spoils, and I think that's where the analysis begins. It doesn't begin with which colonial identity you've been given. And for us as Africans, to link criminality with a nation state or something like that's just internalized racism. I think there's a bigger issue there, and it's how we get, I think our people know that it's a bigger issue, but the political structures are not there to express the will of, the people. How can our people move from nation state to free movement? Well, we have to get rid of the borders. And that is what Pan-Africanism is about. And revolutionary Pan-Africanism is about getting rid of those borders and then managing economies that are structured, that are very planned, and they are structured for the benefit of the people, and there are structures in place for the people to import and direct those structures. So that's how we get rid of the borders. At this point, until we have Pan-Africanism, we're just moving things You know, we're just moving things around. How do we ensure Pan-Africanism survives? Well, it survived in my life, in my activist life, which is over 40 years, and many things have come and gone because they're fashion and because they're facts. They don't actually reflect the needs and will of the people. Pan-Africanism is about the needs and the will of our people. But to be short, keep it short, we just need to keep organising and keep getting the message over. Generation gap. You've got organisations now like the AAPRP, PAIGC, who recognise the need to involve the young people right from the start. And I think that is really important. We need to bring the young people out of the universities and make them part of our organisation.
Now, let us say that what happened in South Africa happened before in Zimbabwe. And I myself, I was a lawyer, I defended a white man escaped from Zimbabwe because he was beaten by the people. They want their land. Well, this is a question about how we got our independence in Zimbabwe and in South Africa. How we allow this class interest to continue. This is a question. It is not simple. You can't solve it just and say this is racism. In any society, even non-divided as wide as South Africa, where there are ethnic division, and those ethnic division are parallel to the class division, you have a problem. You have a real problem of ethnic struggle, because ethnicity here is not just race, it is class, it is interest, it being exploited. And this is the feeling of any ordinary South African towards the whole community of the white. The community of the white is holding capital, it's holding resources, and the people of South Africa, the ordinary people, are still living in the huts and trying to find jobs. And that is why there is a split in the ANC. And now there is a call for a left conference where all the left in South Africa is coming together. And the ANC, by the way, refused to attend the conference. Okay? The matter there is more than racism. It is class struggle, it is about social justice, and it should be resolved in that direction. This is for, as for the question of generation, I think this should be rationally planned by an organization where elders should attend meetings with young people, should write their experience, their memos. Let us stop this African culture of talking. Let us put experiences in writing, documented. Even now, talking can be documented. So that the experience is transferred to a new generation. Otherwise, there is no law to make that. I leave the question of identity. If someone wants to discuss it with me than outside. Because I will speak 100
Thank you.